I would not have predicted that we would have had such a large group of policy wonks in Lusaka that are so focused and so interested in these issues of tax policy, tax administration, and enforcement. But I'm very pleased to see it. And I think it has to do really with the quality of the participation all around in many ways. The fact that we started today talking about the value of research for policy making, for tax administration, I think has been amply proven by the engagement we have had today. There are lots of things that I took away, and some I'll just sort of put down a few sort of things that stuck in my mind. Dennis Mukama, who had to leave to catch a flight from Rwanda, said, "We have lots of data, but we have low usage." Somebody else said, I think it was Ophir, who said, "You're all sitting on a gold mine, or if you're in Zambia, you might be sitting on a copper mine, but you need to use that data." But most, I think, memorably, Millie from Uganda made the case for collaboration between researchers and revenue authorities and ministries of finance in the most eloquent way, repeatedly today, many times. "It's important to collaborate," she said, "but the research must have a practical focus. It is not to publish reports that will gather dust on the shelves." I'm slightly misquoting you there, Millie, but I think that remains in my mind. And we just saw the presentation that Dennis made before he left. The quality of data matters. That's the first step. If you get the quality of data right, then you open up a huge number of avenues for research, which can be of great value to better tax policy and tax enforcement. Joseph from Kenya said that research instills confidence in the tax system. And something that Millie also concluded. He said, when you do good research, people believe that you are being honest with how you are formulating your policy, why you make certain choices rather than others. So I don't think I need to repeat all of these things, but I just thought I'd reinforce what I heard from all of you on the value of research. I have to also thank all my colleagues from the various research parts of IGC Network who came and presented brilliantly on very, very interesting issues of relevance. The high net worth individuals issue, I think, was a stellar presentation, but also a lot of the other presentations on the payee tax and the turnover tax, and a lot of the other presentations that you heard today. So I want to thank all of you for this very interesting workshop, which has finished more or less on time. I would not have predicted, given how much material we had to go through, that this could have been done. So I have to give thanks to all of you, or the researchers, for abiding by the time constraints placed on you, but particularly to my colleague Dennis Chiwele, Dr. Dennis Chiwele, for very nicely and politely making sure that we stayed on time. So I want to thank all the participants. I want to thank P.S. Pamu, who stayed till lunchtime. A busy man like the Permanent Secretary of the Budget Department, spending that much time is a real privilege for all of us. All of the colleagues from the Ministry of Finance and the Zambia Revenue Authority, the chairs of the various sessions, the researchers, the panelists. But I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of those who made this possible. This conference was planned for some time in February or March, and it drifted for various reasons because we had to make sure we had the right people at this event. But I'm so glad that it worked out so nicely. So I'd like to acknowledge the people behind the scenes who made this possible. And if you don't mind, I'll ask you to maybe come forward so you can be recognized. Kunda Chima, please. You won't believe the amount of work. She was trying very, very hard to also make sure that somebody from the Sierra Leone government could be present, trying to get a visa organized for the person to arrive, calling everybody in the immigration office in Zambia to try to get it done, as well as so many other things. So Kunda, thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge Laura Silly from our communications hub in London. We've had about 7 or 8 Skype discussions every week to make sure everything was being programmed properly. in coordination with our colleagues in London. Twiwe Sivale and Milian Sladoe, the two country economists based here in the country office. Could you please stand up? And Laura, I think you stayed very shyly in the background. I just want to make sure you understood who Laura is. She's the person over there. I want to thank Ella Spencer, who's the head of our monitoring and evaluation unit, which is also our real anchor in the London office, who always helps us organize and think about these events. She's here for a visit, and I'm glad that you were here, Ella, to help us with this. And I cannot not mention Emily Yam, our communications head from the London office as well. Emily, please. Emily has a very nice, quiet style of helping us organize these events. But this time I also have to thank her because it was the budget of the communications unit that really made all of this possible. So thank you once more, Emily. I'd like to thank Penelope from the Ministry of Finance, who also coordinated with us and made sure that many of the arrangements were made properly. Thank you, Penelope. And finally, I want to thank once more Dr. Adnan Khan and Dennis Chouele. Adnan came a long way for this event, and I'm very glad that we were able to benefit from his presence. So those are all my thanks, but I want to thank all of you once more for spending the time with us, and I hope we will have interesting follow-up in the conversations that we will continue, hopefully today and tomorrow, with many of you. I wanted to just slightly modify the sequence of events. That's the last item on the calendar for the program for today. The Commissioner General for the Zambia Revenue Authority is here today with us, partly because he is going to give the closing remarks. But before he does that, I wanted to be sure that we had the public signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between the London School of Economics, which is the parent arm of IGC, and the Zambia Revenue Authority. It's something we have discussed at great length with the Zambia Revenue Authority, and we now have an agreement on how we will work together. And I'm hoping that all that they have heard about the collaboration that is happening across the African region with many different research partners is something we can also replicate with the Zambia Revenue Authority. I was speaking to CG Chanda outside, and he's very keen on this collaboration. I reminded him that I met him in December 2016, just shortly after he had taken office. And almost 3 days after I met him, he quickly sent a letter indicating all the areas of research where he would like IGC to help. So I think he has that spirit of looking for research to support their work, and we are quite willing and able to do that as much as we can. So, sir, can I please ask you to come? We have 2 copies of the Memorandum of Understanding, which have already been signed by my London counterparts on behalf of IGC. So it'll require your signature as well as the signature of your witness, I think your legal secretary. Can we give him a hand of applause for that?
Good afternoon, colleagues. It is a great honor for me to officiate at the closing ceremony of this important research and policy conference. Let me begin by stating that tax revenue is critical for my country and all countries around the world. This is important for sustained economic growth and also the welfare of the citizens. Taxation is an important determinant of economic growth, and its effective implementation can significantly increase economic and social welfare. Therefore, the role of tax research is to deliver research outputs that enhance tax policy and administration, which can provide lasting benefits to the economy. Apart from the study on personal income taxation, ZRA has collaborated with the IGC on a number of policy research studies. Some of them are the estimation of the VAT gap in Zambia, property taxation, capital gains tax and mining rights, and the mobile money solutions. These studies have played a critical role in the design and implementation of significant tax policy proposals and a further refinement of our tax administration. Fellow colleagues, let me take this opportunity to share with you some of the initiatives that ZRA is pursuing to improve revenue collections, and some of which are directly related to research outputs. 1, implementation of the electronic fiscal devices for all taxpayers registered for VAT and turnover tax. 2, implementation of the transaction monitoring devices for firms operating in the telecommunications subsector. 3, benchmarking ZRA performance against well-performing tax administrations around the world. 4, establishing a customs valuation database in order to enhance customs valuation and compliance. 5, decentralization of anti-smuggling operations to efficiently deal with smuggling activities. And 6, implementing system interfaces with other institutions in order to maximize the use of third-party data in taxpayer compliance management. As a revenue administration, we remain committed to doing our part so that government meets its development objectives, and we hope that this collaboration between ZRA and IGC will yield more positive results that will enhance our tax administration. I've been reliably informed that this conference was a highly interactive and successful event. The presentations were not only elaborate, but also informative, and I have no doubt that the knowledge shared here will go a long way in informing our tax policy design and tax enforcement strategies in our respective countries. To colleagues that are traveling, I hope you have enjoyed the true Zambian hospitality, and I encourage you to take time to look at some of our tourist attractions. For those traveling back, I wish you safe and pleasant traveling to your respective destinations. I thank you.